Hi, today I'm here with Sean, who has been using the ArcGIS developer tools to do a really cool app with some cool animations. So more about that in just a moment. But first, Sean, can you tell us more about your background and what you do?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm Sean Stone. I'm a senior software engineer at Esri UK, and fundamentally, I use the ArcGIS platform and create applications for customers using the Esri developer tools.
Awesome, Sean. I would love you to tell us more about Pools, which is this cool application I was saying that became a little bit viral right on LinkedIn recently. So why did you make it, and in the first place, what led you building it?
Good question. About 6 years ago, I created an application called Pulse. So that was using the ArcGIS Maps SDK, and I was in the technical research team at Esri. So I was just seeing, I suppose, from my perspective, just understanding Forex, which was relatively new at the time back then. And also, I wanted to create a tool that would enable users to animate data. So with a bit of additional context, my background and my degree was in animation. So I've always had a keen interest in creating animations, and I've used a lot of animation tools, but I realized there was a, a, a gap for an animation or a web animation tool with ArcGIS and feature layers.
Yeah. For those that are not familiar with what a feature layer is, could you explain it shortly?
Good question. So a feature layer is points, lines, and polygon data. So it's a hosted data set with the ArcGIS platform.
Awesome. Now, I think it's a good time for you to show us how it works. Could you mind showing us a demo?
Yeah, sure thing. So what you see here is the video I ended up sharing on LinkedIn. So this is the output. So this is the animation output that Pulse 2 has. So we can animate feature layers as points, lines, and polygons based on a numerical field against it. Um, and one of the things, and one of the reasons I actually created this as well, is I'm personally colorblind, and I also realized that there's often color ramps that are used to visualize data. And for me, sometimes it just didn't work and I couldn't see the color ramps. So it's quite nice to be able to paste those feature services in and actually visualize them just using animation. So fading in and fading out features just to visualize them and try and get more data insights from existing services. But I thought I'd quickly show you what Pulse 2 actually looks like as a tool. So that's the output videos. But what we're seeing here is Pulse, the tool. So we've got a timeline at the bottom. So if I scrub this, you'll see the data moving in. So this is elevation data, so contour data coming in as we move the timeline at the bottom. Then at the top right, we've got a expand widget, and this gives the users the ability to change their animation settings within the application. So we can change on, if you've got more than one field, we can choose what field to animate against. So it could be elevation, it could be temporal, so it could be time. So you've got a numerical field to animate against, we can select that here. We've got things like animation duration and also animation types. So if I change this to being a size animation, what I'll do is I'll just increase the size here. What you'll see is these contours fade in, get thicker, and then get thinner as they fade out. And I thought I would just surface in Pulse 2 some additional settings that might be helpful for users to kind of do everything in one single app. So we've got the ability to change the symbol styles. So that's things like the colors. We can even surface things like dashes and dots. So we can visualize these contours as being different styles. We've got the layer styles themselves, so things like blend modes. So these are really, really powerful. So you can make basically data layers pop. So this destination one, for example, we're showing the underlying base map basically as the symbol itself as it draws in. It's quite a subtle animation, but I think it looks pretty cool. And yeah, there's a bunch of different settings that are all surfaced in here, but at the very end we've got the base maps. That's the underlying imagery to add in. So if I just do dark gray for example, we've actually got the ability to download the animation that you've recorded. So if I press record then play, what it's doing is it's recording that animation and what you're seeing, and if I press stop record, that will then output some attribution data. And if I press download, it will be a file, so you could share that with the attribution data and where you got the data from ultimately on social media. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why it did quite well on socials, is people can make their animations of their data a lot easier.
That's amazing, Sean. I have one question. Who do you think would be the main audience, or the people that would actually benefit from this application?
It's a very good question. I suppose there's a couple of different audiences. One of the things I should mention that is open source, so it's available on GitHub. So for developers, it's a good way just to see how this is built and to reuse components like this canvas recorder I created as a component. But also for people that have, I suppose, used a bit of the ArcGIS platform ultimately, so that may understand what a feature layer is and potentially have got feature services themselves. They'll then be able to put this into the application and animate that data.
And Sean, I would love to ask you about which is the at the end the tech stack. So you were talking about feature layers. So what have you been using while developing this application?
So I've been using the ArcGIS Maps SDK, so 4x, so the latest version of 4x ultimately for this. We're also using Calcite as the UI framework, so that's what we use in the actual widget to populate those panels. It's using Calcite UI, which is very nice. Developed by Esri. It's just nice, easy to use. And yeah, for this project, I didn't use any additional frameworks. It's pretty much just vanilla HTML, CSS, JavaScript, a bit of Calcite, and a bit of Maps SDK ultimately.
That's nice. So not a big learning curve, I guess, to take a look to that code.
No.
That's awesome. And which were the technical challenges you faced while building it?
Yeah, so the technical challenges, I think there was a couple of challenges that I did have. So the original version of Pulse was built to be embedded into web applications. So the original version of Pulse would generate a URL that you could then embed ultimately. So it'd have all the animation settings and then would play, was the gist of it. But then you've got a couple of problems, which is the data needs to exist, the app service needs to exist. You've got another problem of different devices, right? Based on your resolution size, symbols display differently, so it's not as effective. So what I found I could use is a canvas recorder. So a canvas recorder directly against the canvas. So basically the map itself, and that creates the video output that solved a lot of those problems. So instead of embedding the live map, people can embed a video of the animation. And I think that's probably one of the reasons it did quite well on LinkedIn and socials, is people could actually export that and share that if they wanted to.
Yeah, I fully agree. And Sean, one last thing. So you were saying that you made this project open source, right? So
Yep.
is that because you are accepting also open source contributions?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if anyone's got any ideas or wants to contribute, feel free to raise a PR. I'm happy to have a look at that. It's very much welcome.
Nice. Yeah, I encourage everyone to take a look to the code also to learn how it works. Sean, what are you thinking? What is coming next on Pulse?
Good question. It's one of these things I would really like to spend a good solid time on this app. I could probably spend like 2 years on it if I really wanted to. And if I had the capacity, that would be great. Because I think there's a lot you can service even in the ArcGIS Maps SDK in terms of effects, right? There's even like the dot density on a polygon, which is again another nice animation type. I would like to surface those sorts of things in Pulse too. But I think the reality will probably be I'm planning to refactor and use something like TypeScript React and swap to components instead of widgets. So I know there's a general trend at the moment of updating and swapping to components. And then I would also like to introduce some pipelines and some automation in this. It's what I do in my day-to-day job. I didn't use in this application. So yeah, I think that would be good. And it'd also be a nice thing to put on GitHub as well and share how I do such a thing.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a little bit of work, but exciting work. So yeah, Sean, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing and offering yourself to be the first one on this set of recordings we are now doing with people from the
Perfect. No,
community.
thank you very much. Glad to be here. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So for all of you, we just want to let you know that you can find all the links on the video description down below. We also want to encourage any of you that has built a cool application and you want to share it with the rest of the community to contact us. So you will find an email on the description below too. Yeah, thank you very much, Sean, again. Hope to see you soon again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.